Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. I am Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, here presenting tonight's race. It is race number 16 of the Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series here at the newly remodeled Homestead Miami Speedway here down in Florida. This track just getting a kind of a refresh, let's say, here on the iRacing simulator. And with that, now we get those Miami GP light green walls out here. So drivers gonna have to tackle those and hopefully keep their cars off that wall, because here at Homestead, we'll see two very distinct lines, either people running the very, very bottom of the racetrack or ripping the fence. The Kyle Larson line, we saw him do so well a few weeks ago here on the real life side of things. We'll see who can do the best reenactment here tonight, as this is, of course, race number 16 of 21. What that means is, coming out of here tonight, points will look a little bit more solid, but still a lot of racing to go, because with that, still 5 more tracks after tonight. Different tracks on the schedule, but looking pretty different here. Johnny Barker able to get up to second in points with the great run he had last week. Delgado will fall to third. Rob Lowell jumps up to fourth in points, and then Stephen Holmes drops down to fifth. That rounds out the top 5 in points coming into tonight. Brandon Guerin in 6th, Frank Zingen in 7th, Dustin Coggins up into 8th, Justin Branham up into 9th, and then it's Matthew Taylor jumping up to the top 10 for the first time late into this season. So practice done. Nick Larson, quick time here, so maybe trying to rock and roll a little bit with the Larson. We'll have to wait and see who will walk away with the pole award here tonight. A lot of drivers in contention with it. Larson quickest here in practice, but we got to keep an eye on this guy right here. Most poles this season going to this guy right here, Johnny Barker, in the number 6 machine. He so far has notched 3 pole positions here, and then career wide here with the 802 iRacing Cup Car Series. He sits at a whopping 15 of them, so Barker will go on the clock here. He will start his first time lap. It looks like the 6 machine lap number 1 going down to the bottom side here. We'll see how that works out for Barker as he heads down the backstretch for his first time lap. A little bit of wiggle there off of turn number 2. These cars are very, very loose here tonight, because with the sun beating down on this racetrack, track temps are very, very high. During practice alone, we had track temps of 125 plus degrees, so we'll have to see as that will only go up here. Johnny Barker right now with the quick time 34.33, lap number 1 from Barker. At the moment, it is Barker, then Caton, now Nick Larson slots into second. Then that puts Caton to third. Jeff Pogo now 5th, as Dustin Coggins will put it up to P number 2. Barker here for the final time around the speedway here in qualifying. He will hit the stripe. We'll see if Barker can go faster. Yes, he can. A 34.25 for the number 6, finding another 10th in that machine. So a great lap from Johnny Barker as more times continue to file on in here. Looking a little bit later, let's take a look at a driver inside the top 5 in points. Stephen Holmes in this number 90 machine. Looks like lap number 1 against the fence for the number 90. Rob Lowell sliding into P number 3 here. Dustin Coggins still hanging on to second quick. As we take a look here, Holmes first lap 34.64. He will try and find a little bit more speed running the middle lane here on lap number 2 through 1 and 2. He will race down the backstretch for the final time here in qualifying. Of course, qualifying 2 laps only, taking your best time out of those 2 laps. That then sets the grid here tonight for the 140 lap race here at Homestead. Stephen Holmes looking nice and smooth out there in the number 90 machine. Will cross the stripe, will go faster, but not fast enough to change positions. Able to throw down a 34.58. Well, that will keep him in P number 8 here. Now we take a look at the 62. This is the Out of the Woods Crafts machine piloted by Frank Zingen. Zingen, I believe, on lap number 1 in the 62 machine. A little bit of wiggle there off of turn number 4. Zingen lap number 1, good enough for P number 2. A great lap there, as it looks like he's backing it down already. So we'll only get 1 shot at it and making it count, as he'll just go by. But wow, Christian Delgado here late in the race. That 31 machine goes quick time. So Delgado only had, I believe, 1 chance at it. That was his first lap. Looks like still into the throttle here, so may try and improve that lap. But right now, Delgado currently sits at the top of the board with a 34.23. Brandon Guerin, also the other car that has not taken the time here. He is out on track, so the 1 machine trying to find some speed here. Delgado lap number 2. I believe still the same speed, or maybe that 34.24 was on lap number 2, because he has not changed there. So at the moment, Delgado with the quick time. Brandon Guerin puts down his 1 and only lap. Good enough for a top 10 starting spot, though. He will slot into P number 10. That will bump Stephen Holmes out. But with that, a big shout out to this guy out here, still turning laps, trying to get all of the laps he can here before the race. Christian Delgado walking away with the Leaf Guard Pole Award here tonight. And a big shout out to that 31 machine. He needed some momentum, and that's exactly how you start it on off here, leading the field down to green. And I believe, I have to double check here my numbers, but I'm pretty sure for this season, this is Delgado's 2nd pole award there, so that ties him with Stephen Holmes and Jim Ott on the season. Let's now head down trackside and go through tonight's starting lineup. So here we go, folks. Tonight's starting lineup for the Sunshine State 210. Christian Delgado in the 31 machine, walking away with the Leaf Guard Pole Award. He will lead the field to green. Johnny Barker, another front row start from the 6. He will start outside of Delgado, rolling off P number 2. It is the 6 of Johnny Barker. Then we head to row number 2, rolling off P number 3. That is the 62 of Frank Zingen. To his outside, Dustin Coggin in that 42 machine up into the top 10 in points. He will roll off P number 4 in the 42. Then rounding out the top 5 here tonight will be the 21. That is Rob Lowell, rolling off P number 5, and to his outside in the 81, starting in P number 6, that will be Dan Dill. Then we head back to P number 7, rolling off in the 2 machine. That is our fastest in practice. It is Nick Larson. Then to Larson's outside, rolling off P number 8, that is Jeff Pogo, our current points leader in the number 97 machine. Rolling off 9th, the great qualifying effort by this guy right here. It is the 30 machine of Ariba Caton in the 30. Great qualifying effort by him. Brandon Guerin in the number 1 will round out the top 10 here. Then in P number 11 will be the 90, that is Stephen Holmes. Rolling off 12th will be the 58 of Justin Branham. Then in 13th, it is the 33, that is Austin Smith. Rolling off 14th, the 13 of Jason Wiley. 15th going to the 46 of Eli Raposa. Rolling off 16th is Chris Taylor in the 69. 17th going to Cody Brewer in the 12. Matthew Taylor in the 8. Rolling off 18th, and then Rounding out the field here tonight, Dylan Jacobs in the 88 machine, starting shotgun on the field back in 19. So 19 cars get ready to do battle here for race number 16 of the Riptide Radio 802 Next Gen Series. Christian Delgado leading the field down to green flag. And here we go, folks, as that's interesting camera angle as we got a little bit of a view to the fence there, but Delgado, Barker side by side here down into turn number 1. Barker gets a little loose right there at the apex. Delgado will clear him, same with Zingen there, as Delgado will defend the inside lane here, diving into turn number 3 for the first time here tonight. You can see those lines already starting to form. Some drivers trying the bottom, some trying the top, and a few stuck right there in the middle. Delgado here, first laps in the books. He will lead lap number 1. Johnny Barker quickly trying to get back up to that second position. That keeps the top 5 all from where they started out here tonight. Jeff Pogo, one of the cars on the move, already up 3 spots from where he started. He finds himself trying to get into the top 10, going around the high side of the 21 machine. The first car up there against the fence. Further on back though, Jason Wiley clearing Stephen Holmes. Now Branaham right behind Cody Brewer in that battle as well. Excuse me, that is Austin Smith in the 33 machine. Smith throwing me off here, back to his black and orange machine. Smith, of course, trying to wrap that inside lane, gets a little bit loose there off of turn number 2. That'll allow Branaham just a little bit more breathing room there in the 58 up top. Brandon Guerin now under fire from Jason Wiley. This is a battle for P number 10 here, so a top 10 run here early as Jason Wiley, another driver on the move here at the moment. He is the biggest mover, so that 13 machine trying to find some speed here early, trying to take advantage of these fresh tires with a little bit of track position. So still side by side for that 10th position there, as Wiley able to get clear of Guerin. He should be able to slide on up to the wall, able to shut the door on the 1, as doesn't quite fully clear it off, as Guerin will sail it in there on the high side. Up in front though, battle for the race lead. Delgado has got shuffled up to that second lane. Johnny Barker trying to tiptoe around the bottom. Delgado will go from the top to the bottom, slam the door shut on the number 6. With Delgado doing that, overdrove it a little bit, missed the bottom there at the apex. That will allow Johnny Barker to just get a nose ahead. Barker will lead at the stripe, will lead the first lap of the day for the number 6. Barker with the shorter distance around the corner. He will run that bottom side, but he has to wait a while to get onto the throttle. That now allows Christian Delgado to have the momentum. He will get to the back bumper, can't quite do anything else, as we have a great battle here right outside of the top 10, as we are 3 wide racing here on Homestead. Guerin up top, Wiley down low, then it's Caton and Smith, the meat in the sandwich, stuck in the middle here. As now Matthew Taylor, Justin Branaham, Eli Raposa all in this mix as well. Great battles out on the speedway last time by though. Our race leader Johnny Barker just ran the fastest lap of anyone, so that 6 has gotten out to clean air and using it to his advantage, starting to drive away from Christian Delgado. As it looks like most of this battle starting to calm on down just a little bit. Up right in front of where we were just looking, Brandon Guerin trying to put the moves on Stephen Holmes. This is a battle for P number 9 here at the moment. Up in front of them though, Nick Larson, Rob Lowell side by side. This is a battle for 6th, as the top two have checked out. Barker and Delgado about I should say second and a half advantage over Frank Zingen in third. Jeff Pogo up into fourth now as he is trying to get around Dustin Coggins for that fourth position. Looks like we'll clear the 42 off at turn number 2. So Jeff Pogo up into fourth. Dustin Coggins sits in fifth now. Larson was able to get clear of Rob Lowell for 6, so put Larson 6, Lowell 7. Then it's Stephen Holmes just getting around Dan Dill for 8th. Dill now back to 9th, and Brandon Guerin rounding out the top 10. So here's a look here further up the track. Those are our 2 race leaders, and you can see then the advantage they have over Frank Zingen. You can see now kind of a, let's say, a 1/10 of a speedway advantage as they are growing that gap to now closer to 3 seconds advantage for Johnny Barker. But we'll have to see how this works out for this crew, because still a long way to go here tonight. This track has a very, very large possibility of going the whole distance here. You know, this all starts shaking out, drivers continue to get more spread on out. We could see this race going from green to checkered. And that will truly show who has the tire saving mentality, who can manage their stuff here, because I'm pretty sure they could split this race right down the middle, pit right around lap 70 here, as we look back once again to this great battle here from about 10th through now 14th, as Austin Smith coming back into the picture here. Further up towards the front of the speedway here, Jeff Pogo climbs up to a podium running spot. He'll get around Frank Zingen. Pogo still making that high side work. One of the few cars still ripping the top here in the top, I want to say even top 10, let's say. Most of the drivers going down to the bottom of the speedway. Now a few more takers up on the top side here as we get a battle now. Once again, Chris Taylor, Dan Dill, Austin Smith. Dill gets big time out of sorts there off of turn number 2. Hangs onto that race car, but will lose the spot to Smith and maybe even the spot to Raposa now. So that may move Dill all the way down to 15th here, as a little bit struggling with the handling of that race car here tonight. Cody Brewer starting to lose touch of the back of the field just a little bit in the number 12, and we see the 88 machine of Dylan Jacobs down on pit road here on 16, unscheduled stop, and you can see some damage to the right front. He was big time off the pace here, so a tough start of the race for the 88 machine. Further on back here, Nick Larson, now Rob Lowell, both around Dustin Coggins. So move Nick Larson up into the top 5 for the first time here tonight. He sits in 5th. Rob Lowell back up to 6th. Dustin Coggins falling to P number 7 here. Out in front though, Johnny Barker starting to stretch his legs a little bit more in the number 6. He puts about a second and about 2/10 advantage over Christian Delgado Delgado, though, able to pull away from now Jeff Pogo in third. He sits with about a 4.5 second advantage. As now we see a battle for fourth on the speedway here. Nick Larson trying to get around Frank Zingen. Zingen up on the top side now. We'll cut it down to the low side. Larson trying to run the middle. We'll drift up to the top side, up to that wall. Try and get a big run here off of turn number 2. He will do just that there. Get the run, go to the inside. So Larson down low, Zingen up on the top side. And that top side is treacherous, especially through 3 and 4. There's a bump right around the apex of that corner, right against the wall, that if you hit that thing wrong, that front end takes off from you. You get that wall, kind of like we saw with Alex Bowman. And you have to be just so precise, especially here on iRacing, to rip this fence and do it consistently out here. As now they swap spots here. Larson with the run down the backstretch will get clear of Zingen up on the top side. So Larson will be stuck to the top side here in 3 and 4 and should be able to clear the 62 machine. The question is, does it create a path for the 21? Looks like it will not. He won't quite have the run to fill up that top side just at the moment. Further on back there, Dan Dill off the wall there, off of turn number 4. That allows Jason Wiley to get on by as Eli Raposa starts to hound the back bumper of the 33 machine here. 20 laps in, 120 still left to go out here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. As we head back up to that battle for 5th here. Not quite done yet. Nick Larson still under fire. Rob Wold now right to the back bumper here. As one car big time out of sorts. That is the 42 of Dustin Coggins. He will save that race car somehow, but man, big time moment for the 42 there off of turn number 2. How are we doing tonight here? Kenny, seeing ya in the YouTube chat lands. Yeah, Frank was on a move there early. I think he might be saving his stuff here just a little bit. Has not left this bottom side here, so may have the long run pace in mind for this 62 machine. Currently sits, though, in the P number 6 position as he has them battling right in front of him here as Rob Lowell, Nick Larson side by side for 4th. Lowell has a shorter distance, will slide up right in front of the 2 machine there. Will cut the car down, but give P number 4 to the 21 machine. Now can he start to reel in our race leaders? All 3 of them last time by 34.87, 34.86, and a 34.89 was done by our top 3. So all 3 of these guys leveling out on the speed here as we approach lap 25. So like I said, I'm pretty sure fuel, these guys can go, I want to say, to the lap 70 mark here, full of fuel here with this season. So going to be really interesting to see how these tires fall on off if we do get a long run here. Further to the back here, Dan Dill still struggling with that 81 machine. Will get passed by the number 12 machine of Cody Brewer. That moves Brewer up to P number 17, but Dan Dill struggling out here with that 81. Once again, loose off of turn number 2. He has fallen 12 positions from where he started here tonight. These guys were able to get around the 62 machine. Now Zingen on his way back up maybe as he's trying to get that P number 5 spot from Larson. Larson gets a little loose against the wall. He will have to get out of the throttle. That will move Zingen back up into the top 5 here. Maybe he's got that inside worked out. Oh man, Rob Lowell, a little bit of a kiss to the wall there. And that's how difficult it is running the wall there. You can see just that little bit of a scrape, and Zingen now within 3 car lengths of the 21 here. We ride on board with this 62 machine, and you can see how much these cars are sliding. This track very, very hot. These tires starting to go away, and you can see the fall off already. A second from their best lap times of fall off here. So this track very, very treacherous, and it's only going to continue this way as this track continues to get hotter throughout the day and cars continue to put down rubber and temperature into it. You can hear Zingen there sliding that right rear pretty much from apex all the way till he can get that wheel straight. So definitely going to be a handful for these drivers to hang on to these race cars. Chris Taylor down on pit road here in the 69 machine. Don't believe that is a scheduled stop here this early. So here at the moment we will pick back up to our race leader, Johnny Barker, about a 2.5 second advantage over Christian Delgado. Last time by Barker, 0.2 of a second quicker over Delgado. Delgado though hanging on to that second position, able to stretch out his lead to about 5 seconds now over Jeff Pogo. Last time by here looking at our times. We'll take a look here at the timing tower, look at it with you guys. As yeah, Barker only driver in the O's, then Delgado. Pogo must have had a mistake there because he lost about a half a second that lap alone, so the 97 machine definitely having an issue there on lap 28. Rob Lowe last time by a 35.51, and then Frank Zingen, one of the better cars here on speed here as we get later into this run. Last time by though, Rob Lowe, a great lap from him, faster than our race leader at 35.17. Yeah, once again you see it there, a 36-second lap from Pogo, so something definitely awry on the 97 machine. We'll try and pick up here with our third place runner here at the moment, trying to see what kind of damage he has. You can see some nose damage to the 97 and then some to the right front fender. So I think Pogo definitely got the wall there a couple times, maybe in a row, starting to maybe struggle with that line against the wall here tonight. That has now allowed Rob Lowell to get within 2 seconds of our third place runner here, as we see Pogo run kind of the middle lane there through 3 and 4. So Pogo starting to switch things up, trying to figure out where the speed is at on the racetrack here currently. Pogo able to reel in the speed a little bit better there last time by 35.50, so definitely a better lap from the number 97 machine, but first and second last time by 35.34. So let's ride on board here with our race leader, Johnny Barker, and see what he's doing. Oh, a little bit loose there. Initial on the throttle time there for the 6. You can see him working that wheel there from the apex on off, and you may think, you know, hey, that could be a little bit bad, a little bit kind of not the greatest, but that's where you want to be. You want to get all your steering done by the time you get to that apex, and then drive it as straight as you can off these corners, and Johnny Barker doing exactly that. Last time by 35.24, that time at 35.35. So Barker, even though that car seems a little out of control on corner exit, it is fast. There is a big time bobble though from the 6 that time. So that is the fine line you have to walk here for a fast lap time, is that kind of, is it rotating enough or is it rotating too much here, and am I going to lose this race car? Because we've seen many of times, we saw it even, I mean, last week there at Nashville Super Speedway, drivers just losing it off corner exit there, just get a little bit too sideways, and this thing can snap right around in a hurry. And back a little bit further here, but actually, just kidding. I thought we had someone coming to pit road. We did not, as we have a battle here shaping on up for an 8th position here. As Matthew Taylor putting the pressure here on the back bumper of the 42 machine of Coggin. Taylor will stick it to the top side here. Coggin will drive it down to the low side. Coggin will get a little bit loose, catch a piece of the apron, so that will allow an easy pass for the number 8 to move the 8 car up into P number 8. Further towards the back here, folks, cars kind of closing in on each other here, the 13, the 33, and the 30, so a lot of 3s in these driver numbers here, and these guys slowly starting to catch each other, but Caden now within 0.3 of a second of the number 33 machine, so Austin Smith might be under fire here before we know it. Riding on board with Smith, looking back to the Napa Hooters number 30 machine, and you can hear, if you jump that cushion, let's say that air cushion against the wall, you have to wait so long to get in the throttle, especially around the top side, that you're better off running the bottom like we saw the 30 machine do. You saw the amount of gap that he was able to close there, as Austin Smith was just waiting on that throttle just a little bit there. Smith started to turn it up just a little bit there. Was able to drive away a little bit from the 30 machine, as Smith will just get a piece of the wall on that. Yeah, that's how tough it is there, as Smith lights him up, trying to get back in the throttle, and like we saw many of times before, and we'll see it continuing throughout this run, how tricky that top lane is, especially off of turn number 4. Matthew Taylor gonna get by the 90 machine of Stephen Holmes. Holmes pulling out of the way of the number 8, saying, hey, it's still 100 laps to go. It's too early to race you hard, my man. You have the better speed at the moment. We'll let you go on by. So now Taylor will try and track down Nick Larson. Larson sits about a second in front of him. As let's take a look at the track map here on the right side of your screen. Take a look at where some of your favorite drivers are running. Take a look here at our race leader, about a 1.5 seconds over second of Delgado. Those guys just getting to the middle of the backstretch now. And then you can see the gap to the 97, the 21, having a little bit of lap traffic out in front of them. So that'll make it a little bit more interesting for those drivers, as at the moment we have, I believe, 4 cars 1 lap down or more. Everyone's still out on the speedway, still clicking off laps here. That's trouble for the 88 of Dylan Jacobs. He'll be able to bring it to pit road, so we will stay green. No yellow flag, as I think he lost it on his own. So that'll probably allow the 12 of Brewer to at least get up, at least back up to P number 18 here. As As you can see here, pockets of cars starting to form on up with some battles on the speedway here. We take a look at one with 3 cars here. Eli Raposa.
Caution, yellow flag is out. Stop
allowing
the count.
some guys to go on by, and we get our first caution of the night, I believe involving the 12 car of Cody Brewer. So we will take a look at the turn 3 race and replay and see what brought out our first caution of the night. So taking a look here at the pink and black number 12 machine here off of turn number 4. We saw just how tricky this part of the racetrack is. We're going to speed it up just a little bit here, see what happened, because I believe it's a 1-car incident here. As Brewer just off of the pace, maybe calling it a race here. Tries to get down on the apron, but with that stopping on the speedway, that will bring out the caution here. So a tough break if you're the likes, you know, of the 6 car, the 31 machine, because those guys had a healthy lead. Now this race gets turned on its lid just a little bit. So Johnny Barker's going to lead the whole field down to pit road out here tonight. I believe Dan Dill will be the lucky dog here, and some other drivers can get their wave around here, but as you can see, the 6 car of Johnny Barker leading the whole field down to pit road. We'll see if anyone tries 2 tire stop. I think it's still a little bit too risky to make anything like that happen at this point in the race, just under 100 laps to go. As we see cars right sides going up, now left sides going up for most of the field out here. So we will see who wins the race off pit road. It's going to be the 6 car of Johnny Barker, then Delgado, Pogo in 3rd. Rob Lowe will beat Frank Zingen, so that will be 4th and 5th. So that's your top 5 off of pit road here. So first caution of the night here, coming out, I believe, on lap 43 for a stop car here on the front stretch. So with a little bit of break in the action out here, we're going to go to commercial break and be right back on the other side. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back here for the first restart of the night. So we come back here to the Homestead Miami Speedway for race number 16 of the Riptide Radio Next Gen Series. Under our first caution of the evening, looks like Johnny Barker will elect the inside lane here on our first restart. That'll put Christian Delgado up into 2nd place, his first front row restart of the night. As Johnny Barker won last week at Nashville, he's trying to go for 2 in a row, as that will help his points chase big time here. He sits 60 points back from Jeff Pogo, but then is Christian Delgado 1 point back from Johnny Barker. So a close race for 2nd. As here we go, Johnny Barker on the loud pedal. Delgado sleeping a little bit at the start. He may lose 2nd to Pogo. Side-by-side battle for the 2nd position here through turns 1 and 2. Delgado will have the momentum here down the backstretch. Pogo a little bit loose, same with the 62 off of turn number 2. Barker would love to see these guys stay side-by-side in his rearview mirror there, as I think Delgado got a piece of the wall there through 3 and 4. But he will have the momentum get clear for just a second of Pogo as Delgado into the wall there once again on entry of turn number 1. He will get clear of Pogo, so Delgado will try and set his sights on the number 6. He'll go down to the bottom kind of middle lane. Pogo will fall right in his tire tracks here as further on back Stephen Holmes trying to put the moves on Frank Zingen. This is a battle for 5th here. Dustin Coggins and now Matthew Taylor in the mix as well. Zingen will get clear. He'll go down to the bottom side. Matthew Taylor, first car ripping the top side here, trying to build up that momentum. Holmes will get a little bit loose, slide right in front of the number 8. Taylor will now drop it down to the inside and probably go all the way to the bottom here. As Holmes puts it right against the fence through 3 and 4. He'll get clear of Taylor, maybe not, as they will go door number to door number here into turn number 1. Nick Larson right there as well. He tries to find just any sort of opening because he's battling now with Coggins and Jason Wiley right there. Great battles here on the bottom side of the top 10. Looks like Holmes will find some momentum up top. Should be able to get clear of the number 8 machine. As out in front though, Johnny Barker continues to lead the way over Christian Delgado. Jeff Pogo still hanging into 3rd. Rob Lowell up to 5th. Frank Zingen in 6th. One car maybe got the wall, or just a very aggressive crossover move by the 13. I think the 2 machine of Nick Larson got a piece of the wall there. He falls back a handful of spots there off of turn number 2. Larson did in fact get a piece of the wall there, so he will drop back all the way to P number 11 here. As he will try and put his head back down, try and carve his way back through those cars in front of him as he gets the wall once again off of turn number 2. Not going to help the case too much for Larson there if he keeps on pounding the wall there off of turn number 2. Battle for the 3rd position starting to heat on up. Rob Lowell, Jeff Pogo duking it out there. We're starting to see that battle maybe forming on up here around this time if we didn't get that yellow, but it seemed like that 21 machine definitely has some decent long run speed here. Lowell trying to make that inside lane work through 3 and 4. Pogo still ripping the fence. The 21 will once again drop down to that inside lane. Further towards the back here, Jason Wiley, Dustin Coggins starting to do a battle just a little bit here. Let's ride on board with Branham looking at this battle in front of him. You can see out in the distance now the 21 machine will draw even with the 97. So the battle for 3rd rages on there as they get officially side by side, at least through the corner. Right in front of Branham. Wiley will take a look to the inside there. Branham will drive it in there very deep. We'll try and get this momentum rocking and rolling up to the top side. We'll have the run on the 13 machine, and that's exactly the run I'm talking about, that this top side can get if you can hit that lane. But keep it off the wall here as Branham will get a piece of it there. So Branham able to get around Wiley for the 9th position here. Battle still rages on for that 3rd position as Lowell still hasn't quite been able to clear the 97 of Pogo. Now, if these guys get battling too much, that could open up the door to the drivers behind, like Frank Zingen, Stephen Holmes. As the 21 machine has definitely figured out something for the bottom side of 3 and 4. It definitely catches on the 97, but loses a little bit of speed there from the high side of 1 and 2. It seems like at the moment, especially as this track continues to wear, it seems like the optimal lane might be the top side in 1 and 2, and then rip that bottom side there in 3 and 4. As we see a little bit further on back here, Brandon Guerin getting around the 13 of Jason Wiley. So that moves the 1 car back up into the top 10 here. A great 3-car battle here between Austin Smith, Eli Raposa, and Dan Dill. All these guys right under a blanket here as Raposa tries to make the inside line work. Smith will get a shot in the back bumper just a little bit from the 81 of Dan Dill. If there was someone that was definitely excited for that caution, it was this 81 machine. As Smith, big time moment. He will collect Dan Dill, and both those cars will have heavy damage to the front end, as it looks like Smith just lost the back end there, and that will bring out our second caution of the night. We saw it live there, Smith getting loose and Dan Dill just having nowhere to go. We'll take a look here, slow it on down just a little bit. You can see Smith got into the wall there. That tough lane against the fence, yanks it off the wall, and then with that, gets a little bit loose. You know, throwing around that weight like that can get these cars especially upset, especially these independent rear ends, and then snapped once again to the right. Dan Dill just having nowhere to go. We take a look here one more time, seeing if we can ride on board with the 87 machine. You can see the 33 get loose, and then yeah, this is slowed down, so a little bit more time to think, but definitely zero reaction time to the 81 machine to make anything happen. So here's where it gets interesting, folks. Only 20 laps on these tires. Do you come in and take a set? Because you can almost make it to the end on fuel, but only 3 sets of tires over the wall. It looks like most of the field not coming down pit road. It looks like the first taker, Dustin Coggin, then Brandon Guerin, Eli Raposa, and Dan Dill as well probably get some of that damage repair. So if you're further in the back, it might be worth the gamble, especially if this race goes to the finish. As we see the 69 machine of Chris Taylor going around the pace car here, he will get the lucky dog. So that will now move, I believe, 16 cars onto the lead lap. Maybe 15, for sure 15, if not maybe 16. So at least here, early stages of this race, still before the halfway mark, it seems like the 6 car of Johnny Barker will be the car to beat here. And if he can get the job done, that'll put him 3 wins on the season, breaking the tie with himself, Kenny Reel, and Steve Ritter. As the only driver with more wins than those 3 here so far this season, our points leader, Jeff Pogo. Lights will go out around the Homestead Miami Speedway, so that means one thing, folks. It is 1 lap to green. We will get the field re-racked, restacked, and get ready to go back to green flag racing action. As we see once again, Johnny Barker electing the inside lane on this restart here tonight. And I think I think we'll do a little turn 3, turn it up for this restart here. So I'm going to go let the cars do the talking. And here's a little turn 3, turn it up on the second restart of the race. And we come back here, and it looks like we have a battle for the race lead here. Christian Delgado taking back over the point here over Johnny Barker. Barker, we heard one of those laps during the crank it up there. He got a piece of the wall. Now Delgado into the wall there in turns 1 and 2. Allow Johnny Barker to get back to the race lead here. And it shows just how difficult this high side is, especially these guys firing off with about 20 lap old tires. Delgado once again gets a big piece of it that time through turns 3 and 4. So that allowed Johnny Barker, oh, he could have slammed the door shut, did not. So Delgado still had some life left in that 31 machine up on the top side, but he has to keep that fast machine out of the wall. Jeff Pogo here with these leaders racing side by side has been able to keep tabs on these race leader. He has been the closest he has been so far all race long. Still side by side right at the stripe for the race lead here. This battle for the race lead has been awesome so far here, and I think all it's going to take is a mistake. Either Johnny Barker getting loose on that inside lane on one of these corner exits, or Delgado really pounding the wall at some point up on that second and top lane. Delgado gets a piece of it once again through 3 and 4. That time allowed Barker a little bit more breathing room. Barker able to get up to the top side. Does he take the line away from the 31? He does not. So Barker back down to the inside lane. Not quite defensive driving yet from the number 6. Now Jeff Pogo will start to look to the inside of the 31 machine. Further on back though, we got to keep an eye on this 42, Dustin Coggin. One of those drivers to take tires under that last yellow flag. He restarted outside of the top 10, now up into P number 7 here for the 42 machine. Another driver to take tires was the one of Brandon Guerin. So Guerin back up into the top 10, currently running 9th in the number 1. So if we get a really long run here, folks. We may have to keep an eye on the 42 and the 1. Go back up to the front of the race here. Johnny Barker this time by in the number 6. We'll see the cross flags first. Halfway down, halfway to go in the Sunshine State 210 here from Homestead Miami Speedway. That time by in 1 and 2, Jeff Pogo up to the top side, falls right in the tire marks of the 31 machine. This time by though, Delgado will go down to the bottom. Pogo will stay up in the top lane here. So Pogo looks like was able to get some of that damage repaired on the right front. Doesn't seem as dinged up as before. Still a little bit damaged down by that splitter, but that 97 machine definitely seems like it has a little bit more speed than it did in that first run here tonight. Delgado a little bit sideways there off at turn number 2, allows Pogo to get right to the back bumper of that 31 machine. Delgado knows he has to fight hard, keep that points leader behind him at all costs. As Matthew Taylor up into the top 5 for the first time here tonight. Had a little bit of moment there down the front stretch, got a little bit loose there off at turn number 4, able to hang on to that W number 8, but now under fire from new tires of Dustin Coggin. Coggin still a man on a mission with those new tires. Was about half a second to a quarter of a second faster than anyone else out on track. So if this thing can run to the end, get no more yellows, that may have been the move of the race to pit under that last caution flag. There's one thing Coggin does not want to see, it's that yellow flag. Jason Wiley here running in the 13th position. Nick Larson, currently our first car 1 lap down. Not sure what happened to Larson, but he finds himself 1 lap down. Same with the 81 of Dan Dill. You can see Dill here off the pace with some heavy right front damage. So I think he may have used his fast repair before that wall hit. And that 81 just trying to hang on to whatever speed he can find, as he is in danger here of going 2 laps down. So far, 3 retirements out of this race here at Smith, Jacobs, and Brewer. Still, though, 16 cars out on the speedway. Maybe make that 15 as Chris Taylor brings it down pit road. Looks like he may call tonight. So that'll put us now only 15 cars out on the racing surface. Rob Wool now under fire from those new tires. Dustin Coggin able to drive right around that 21 machine. So Coggin up into the top 5 once again here tonight. He started in the 4th position, so that 42 knows where to find speed at, but right now has a big time tire advantage and trying to use all that he can, as now he goes after Jeff Pogo for a podium running position. Coggin once again down on the inside lane here. Pogo still ripping the fence here. Barker still making that inside lane work, but it is allowed now Delgado to get right to the back bumper, now to the inside of the number 6. Once again, battle for the race lead here, as Delgado will try and get around the 6 here, as they will put Dan Dill 2 laps down here. That has Barker just get out of the throttle, so Delgado back out to the race lead here. Dan Dill trying to stay out of the way here as much as he can. As Delgado gets a great run there off of turn number 2, he will get clear and try and set sail just a little bit over the 6 of Barker. Barker gets loose at the apex, That's allowed now Dustin Coggins to get up to P number 2. Here comes Dustin Coggin on that new set of rubber. He is up to P number 2 here, sets his sights on Christian Delgado for the race lead. Further on back here, Brandon Guerin will get around the 62. Guerin, another one of those drivers with that fresher rubber. He is now up to the 7th position here as Zingen had to really wait to get on the throttle, try and get around the 81, the wounded 81 machine of Dill. Johnny Barker here starting to lose some drive off of that right rear here. He is struggling to get that power down on corner exit. That has now allowed Jeff Pogo to get even with the number 6 for that 3rd position. So this could be the furthest we've seen the 6 car of Barker drop down here so far in the race, as Pogo will have the advantage going into turn number 1 here. Pogo with the preferred line through turns 1 and 2. Looks like he will be able to clear Barker. Yes, he will. So Jeff Pogo back up into P number 3. Johnny Barker falls to P number 4, the lowest we've seen him all race long so far here. And you can see why there. Barker all over the racetrack there, chasing that race car on corner exit. As right behind them, Matthew Taylor, Rob Lowell getting ready to do battle here, but Coggin has closed in to about 3 car lengths of our race leader here. Christian Delgado currently holding over the point here. We'll go down to the low lane here through 3 and 4. Coggin will follow him here off at turn number 4. We will ride on board with Dustin Coggin here. Take a look at the lap times. Last time by, pretty even lap times for our top 3 here. So you have to wonder, did Coggin use up his stuff a little bit too much here going through the field? Now updated 35.15, a little bit faster than Delgado. Delgado will get a piece of the wall there in turns 1 and 2. Coggins has to really wait to get on the throttle there off of turn number 2. I thought there was maybe an issue or something. Had to wait forever to get onto the throttle, and that allows Delgado to get away a little bit more once again. So if you're the likes, of Christian Delgado, Jeff Pogo, Johnny Barker, Rob Lowell, when do you first come down pit road here? So far on lap 85, these guys have now done 40 laps on their set of tires. So how long can you go for? When do you come down? Because we can see already once again a 2nd fall off from our fastest lap. So if someone short pits even a lap, you can make up a 2nd of track time. Looks like Dan Dill back down on pit road here. That 81 struggling out here on the racetrack. Looks like might be calling it a night for the 81. Further on back here, Matthew Taylor still keeping the pressure on the back of the 21 of Rob Lowell. These guys have been right nose to tail, I want to say, for the last 15 laps or so. Christian Delgado out in front has started to put a little bit of gap over Dustin Coggin. So Delgado starting to even on out, maybe with the tire advantage just a little bit. You got to wonder, did maybe as Rob Hull that time off of turn number 4 got big time sideways, lost the spot to Matthew Taylor, and he's lucky he just hung on to that race car because that thing was big time out of sorts. As we have a battle here for P number 3 brewing on up. Johnny Barker trying to get back that 3rd position. Pogo still running the wall here on both ends of the speedway. Barker back down to this inside lane here on both corners. Has allowed him to catch the number 97 machine, but it's a whole nother animal to try and pass someone, especially here at the tricky Homestead Miami Speedway. Here on lap number 90, we see our first taker down to pit road. Johnny Barker hard on the binders. He will make it safely on down. Same with Rob Lowe. Justin Branham also down to pit road. The first takers under green flag conditions down on pit road. Now, if you're Christian Delgado, I think you have to respond here. We hear the call out from the spotter stand of the 97. Jeff Pogo down to pit road this time. Same with the 31 of Delgado. Man, that was close there between Delgado and Coggin. Pogo coming in hot. Oh, man. I don't think Pogo got it slowed down in time. We'll keep an eye on that 97 machine because he came in there hot. Dustin Coggin, Dustin Coggin, Brandon Guerin staying out on the speedway. Those two, of course, pitted last on lap 60. So we will have to see how it sorts on out. Now Coggin coming in this time by saying, you know what? Tire advantage there at the end wasn't quite where I wanted it. I'm coming on in. Got to lead a lap, get a bonus point. Now that hands over the race lead to Brandon Guerin. Guerin will pick up his first lap lead of tonight. Here rolling off of pit road, Christian Delgado gets out to the speedway in a timely manner. He will have advantage now over Frank Zingen. Zingen with a very quick stop. He last pitted on 82, so that is how Zingen is out here running up in the mix. He short pitted it big time, didn't even notice that. Jeff Pogo maybe, I think, did get dinged for speeding. He had a 1:06 pit stop. Johnny Barker back out from pits, so I think Barker may have had an issue there. As maybe not. I think that's where they all settled on out here. I'm going to go try and get my pit events here, see what happened, but as we take a look here, I want to see if any of these drivers made a second trip down to pit road. Yeah, it looks like Barker actually did get busted for speeding. He had to come down, I believe, a second time there. I believe the 97 of Jeff Pogo also with a penalty on pit road. So Well, looks like the 30 and the 13 both down on pit road here. So only car yet to come out from pits is the one car of Brandon Guerin. Then behind him, Christian Delgado here running his own race here at the moment. Frank Zingen will cycle back out to the third position with a little bit of a short stop. Johnny Barker now back up into fourth here as he gets around the 97 of Jeff Pogo. Maybe I'm just smoking something, because it actually looks like, based on where everyone's running, you know, Pogo nor Barker did get a penalty, so. Yeah, it looks like those guys, no penalty at the moment, as we now see Johnny Barker trying to get around Frank Zingen. Zingen about 8 lap older tires than the drivers around him, so that'll move up Barker back up into the podium positions. Zingen just trying to hang on to whatever he can here. He's got some fast cars behind him. Jeff Pogo, Matthew Taylor, both right there. Dustin Coggins still in the mix there with his alternate strategy. Coggin, though, has to be worried if we get a late race yellow. He does not have any more tires for that 42 machine. So everyone but Brandon Guerin back onto the same pretty much pit strategy. At least tire-wise, everyone on the same tire for the distance they got to go here tonight. And to just give you guys a fall-off number here, Brandon Guerin last time by at 36.74, whereas Christian Delgado did a 34.40, so over 2-second difference between tires out here. As next time by at the stripe, we will see 40 laps to go. And yeah, Kenny, a yellow here at this point would make this race really, really interesting. As we head back here, back to our top 5, Matthew Taylor starting to chase down Jeff Pogo just a little bit, so could have a battle for the 4th position before we know it. Dustin Coggins right there in reaching distance as well, right behind the number 8. Justin Branham able to get around Nick Larson for the 9th position on that lap. As Larson, another one of those drivers that has yet to pit here. I think Larson maybe had to serve a penalty. That's how he found himself 1 lap down. Currently trying to ride this out as long as he can, hoping for a yellow flag. As Matthew Taylor slowly marching towards the 97 machine. Now that time into turn number 1, Taylor about a car length and a half behind the 97. So Taylor definitely closing on the gap. Will he go to this inside lane here? Taylor has been very good against the fence. Looks like that time by will get out of the throttle really early. Now that allows Dustin Coggin to close in even more to the back bumper of the 8. Take a look here from the front stretch grandstands on the Homestead Miami Speedway, and you can just see how close these guys are running, what kind of speeds they're running around here at the Miami Speedway. Take a look at this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. And if these guys start battling a little bit too much, Rob Lowell in that white 21 machine right there as well. That time Taylor going down to the inside lane does get a bit of a run, able to get alongside the 97 machine, but here comes where the inside lane isn't quite where it's at, down low off of turn number 2. Taylor will hold his own though, able to stay side by side with Pogo. A great battle for the 4th position out here on the speedway. We saw Pogo trying to keep up with the leaders there, but ever since that green flag pit stop, this 97 machine has not fired off here as you would expect. So yeah, it looks like from those green flag pit stops so far, no one with any sort of speeding penalty or any pit road penalties. Yeah, Kenny, I tell you what, I was excited to see that 11 machine out on track here. I have to go check my messages, see what we're looking like. Oh man. Yeah, you definitely will have to run that car in the near future, and you know, with all the rumors that swirl around NASCAR, you know, that sponsorship, that partnership may come into fruition here before we know it. As Taylor a little bit out of sorts that time off of turn number 2, he will lose all the hard work he tried to make on Jeff Pogo. We'll have to once again size him back up and try and get around the 97 machine. I said it before here already just tonight, I'll say it again. It is one thing to catch the car in front of you. It's a whole nother battle to race them side by side and complete a pass. As Brandon Guerin still out in front, clicking off laps, still hoping for that caution flag to fall, but so far has yet been the case. Christian Delgado currently runs in second, about a 5-second advantage over Johnny Barker. Barker currently back up into the 3rd position here at the moment, and he has about a 1-second gap over Jeff Pogo. And then we look at that great battle from 4th through 7th now, as Rob Lowell is starting to catch the back bumper of Dustin Coggin. So here, as most of the field spread on out around the speedway, we're going to take a look once again at the track map on the right side of your screen here. Don't forget the one car of Brandon Guerin, I believe, still has to make a pit stop here. I don't think he can quite make it the distance with the fuel that was in the car. Jeff Pogo once again under fire from Matthew Taylor. Pogo into the wall, into it big time there. Will pull the William Byron, will get, the Alex Bowman will get stuck in the wall as well. You know, getting that old iRacing wall glue, you hate to see it. So that now allows Matthew Taylor to get on around. Taylor will try and set sail, run away from this battle, but with how much Pogo lost, that allows Dustin Coggin to close on in with the 3 car lengths of the 97. That's awesome. Kenny even has the emblem on the car as well. I won't give any spoilers to anyone, you know, watching the race live. You know, we'll just have to see you debut that number 11 machine, but that would definitely be an awesome paint scheme when you decide to roll it off the trailer here. As we take a look here now, Jeff Pogo under fire from the 42 machine. Coggin trying to find some momentum down low. Taylor will bounce it off the wall there off of turn number 4. Coggin back down to the inside lane. Pogo still holding strong up there against the fence. Has not moved there. Oh, Taylor big time sideways. He will lose a lot of momentum. That'll allow Coggin and Pogo to both go around, able to split him. Somehow Matt hung onto that race car. Man, that was a save of a century right there from the number 8. Did cost him 2 spots, but could have been a lot worse, as now Coggin able to clear Pogo off of turn number 4. So Coggin here looking for one of his best runs of the season. Of course, had that podium finish there at Bristol. Now trying to back it up there. Now as Pogo gets big time out of sorts there off of turn number 2. Will quickly slam the door shut in front of Matthew Taylor. But that 97 machine, like I said, seems to be big time struggling ever since that green flag pit stop. Dandale will get out of the way of these guys racing for position here. Now Rob Lowe looks to the inside of Matthew Taylor. Taylor had to get woed on up going into turn number 3 because the 97, like I said, slammed the door shut for that top lane there. So Lowell and Taylor will go side by side here down the backstretch. Pogo not quite running as close to the wall as he once was a few laps ago. Taylor once again sideways out there. He has to start being careful. He gets that right rear too hot and continues to get it hot. He'll start to lose a lot more traction than that as this run continues. Of course, one of the longest runs here so far consistently. Of course, most of these guys last pitted on lap 90, so only, 25 laps on these tires, still 25 to go this time by at the stripe. So, and with this lap clicking on off, Christian Delgado back into the race lead. Brandon Guerin still has yet to visit pit road here, but currently only down to that second position if we do get one of these late race restarts. Taylor once again sideways off of turn number 4. It looks like that A car falling away here in a hurry. He's just going to have to go on damage control. Next car behind him 11 seconds back, so Taylor just has to back that pace down a little bit, make sure he can bring that car home in one piece. So top 5 here at the moment, it goes Delgado, then Guerin, Johnny Barker in 3rd, Dustin Coggin up to 4th, Jeff Pogo rounding out the top 5, and it's Rob Lowell 6th, Matthew Taylor in 7th, Frank Zingen in 8th, Justin Branham 9th, and Stephen Holmes rounding out the top 10. At the moment, the way they run, Matthew Taylor, biggest mover of the race, up 11 spots from where he started, and here we go, battle for 5th. Rob Lowe looking to the inside of the 97 of Pogo. Pogo now running kind of the middle to upper groove around the speedway, trying to put those left sides right on that seam there. Not willing to put it right against the fence there. Looks like the same deal down in 3 and 4. Rob Lowe will run the middle lane here. Looks like Lowe will be able to get clear of Pogo. Yes, he does. So Rob Lowe up into 4th as Dustin Coggin has started to track down Johnny Barker for 3rd, though. Could have a battle for 3rd before we know it here as Jeff Pogo finds some big-time momentum there in 1 and 2, able to get back in front of the 21 machine. So this battle for 5th not over yet here, folks. These two will race door number to door number here by the time they get into turn number 1. Rob Lowe once again back down on this inside lane. Jeff Pogo trying to tiptoe around the top. Well, a little bit loose there on throttle application. You hear him have to feather just a little bit. That, of course, allows the 97 machine to get just clear for a second. But once again, back down through 3 and 4, 21 shorter distance, able to draw even. As, oh man, folks, here with 20 laps to go, we get a caution flag out on the speedway. And I think that was with the 81 machine. That we'll have to wait and see here. I don't see anything. As yeah, it was the 81 machine of Dan Dill out here crashing, and it looks like, yeah, definitely something happened earlier to Dill, as he was already way out of sorts there off of turn number 2, and then big time impact to the outside wall there, and we'll spin it down, and here we go, folks. Christian Delgado probably going to lead the last charge down pit road. Some drivers having some tires, some not. Dustin Coggin, one of those drivers, having no more tires left. Brandon Guerin able to stay out, survive till this yellow. He will come down pit road in second. Man, oh man, it's about to get wild here, folks, as Christian Delgado leads the field down pit road. As like we saw, Dustin Coggin staying on out, having no more tires left for that race car to take. Coggin, I think, will be the only driver out on the speedway without a set. So here we go. It's about to get crazy as cars head to their pit stalls. We'll keep an eye on the end of pit road, see if anyone decides a 2-tire stop for that track position. Right side going up on everyone's cars. Do we see anyone roll for no left sides? Looks like will not be the case. Looks like 4 tire stops for most of the field here, as it is Delgado first, then Johnny Barker, Jeff Pogo third off pit road, Rob Lowe fourth, Matthew Taylor rounding out the top 5 there. So Brandon Guerin with not too long of a stop there in the pit stall, let's say, but a longer stop on pit road. Looks like he will drop all the way to about 9th on this restart, so Dan Dill once again down on pit road. Looks like Nick Larson will get trapped 1 lap down here. So here we go, folks. It's going to be a dash to the finish here as Nick Larson will drop to the back. Dustin Coggin had no other choice. He has to stay on out. He had no more sets of tires for that race car here, so he will restart with the lead here, but on those older tires. Should be interesting to see. Barker has to be careful of that 42 getting some wheel spin. Lights are out on the speedway here, so going green this time by, and it's going to be a 16-lap shootout to determine who wins the Sunshine State 210 for race number 16 of the Riptide Radio Next Gen Series. On the front row, it'll be Coggin leading the field to green, then to his outside will be Delgado. Barker in third, Pogo fourth, and then it is Rob Lowe rounding out the top 5 here on restart number 3. The iRacing pace car makes the late dive down onto pit road, and here we go. Dustin Coggin away, a little bit of wheel spin, but not as bad as I expected. But here comes Christian Delgado around the top side. Johnny Barker's going to try and find some open, clean track as quickly as he can. And that it looks like he will. We'll split him 3 wide here off of turn number 2. Christian Delgado able to get away with the race lead. He will be the first driver to see 15 laps to go. Now Jeff Pogo sails it in there deep, bounces it off the wall, Pogo knows it's time to go. He's going to try and rip the fence from here on out. Pogo with a great run there off of turn number 4, able to get within 2 car lengths of Delgado for the lead. Delgado will get a piece of the wall. That will slow him on up. Pogo tries to get to the inside, gets sideways there, has to lift just a little bit. Man, some great racing. 15 laps to go. Another driver that's excited to see that yellow. Matthew Taylor able to race this car to the limit now, knowing he only has 15 laps to go. He can push the limit and not have to worry about saving that right rear. Delgado getting a little bit of lap traffic out in front of him. Oh, Taylor would get a big piece of the wall there on the entry of turn number 1. Delgado gets held up just a little bit by the lap car of Dill. That will slow down his momentum just that little bit enough down the backstretch. Pogo able to gain within half a second of our race leader. Taylor and Barker still side by side for third. Now Matthew Taylor up into P number 3. Right behind them, Brandon Guerin on the charge. He will try and go around the high side of the 62 of Zingen. Zingen and Guerin there, a little bit of moment off of turn number 2. He will have to lift, get out of the throttle. That will cost him that battle for 5th and 6th, as well as Rob Lowell will get up into 6th. Out in front though, Christian Delgado continues to lead the way here. Over now, Jeff Pogo in second. Matthew Taylor once again on the back bumper of the 97 machine. Further on back, Rob Lowell able to get around Frank Zingen for that 5th position there. As here we go, what does Taylor have left in the hat of tricks here to try and get around the 97 machine? Further on back here on the speedway, some great racing from 5th on back here. Rob Lowell continues to lead the pack, but it involves Zingen, Guerin, Justin Branham, and Eli Raposa all under a blanket here as they try and work their way around the speedway. Further up front though, Matthew Taylor having a bit of a moment. That allows Johnny Barker now to get side by side for that 3rd position. This time by though, Christian Delgado will see the single digits to go. It will be 9 laps to go here at the stripe as Johnny Barker able to get clear for that 3rd position. Matthew Taylor going to try the crossover here into turn number 1. Barker will get put in that high lane, a place where that 6th car has not been too often yet this race. Looks like Barker will be able to defend that spot. Can he track down now Jeff Pogo? As Rob Lowell's starting to drive away just a little bit from this pack now. Brandon Guerin closing up to the back bumper of Frank Zingen. Of course, right behind them, Branham, Raposa. We're side by side, not anymore here down the front stretch. Now we jump up to that battle for 2nd here as Johnny Barker trying to work that inside lane over Jeff Pogo. Like I said, this is going to be a critical spot because Barker needs a decent amount of points, but what he cannot afford from here on out is Jeff Pogo beating him at the finish line when these races end. 3 wide for a second there off of turn number 4. Matthew Taylor once again back into the rhythm in that number 8 machine. He will find some speed here. We'll look to the inside of Pogo. Off of turn number 2, though, Johnny Barker able to get clear from Pogo. So give that second position to the number 6. Does not block the 97 there through 3 and 4. He'll go down back to the bottom right in front of Matthew Taylor. Barker once again gives Pogo the lane there. Man, this late in the race, if I'm Johnny Barker, I am giving that 97 machine as much dirty air as I can and trying to allow the 8 of Matthew Taylor to get around as well. But I got to commend these guys, you know, very respectful racing from these two. Barker giving Pogo his own lane up top, but will it cost him here? Because here comes Pogo. He has built back up that momentum up on the top lane. That time by 1 open palm left from the flag, man. It is 5 laps to go. With these guys battling for second, that has allowed Christian Delgado to check out in front. And this is currently the best battle on the speedway, side by side for the runner-up position. I think at this point Johnny Barker just has to wait for a mistake from Jeff Pogo, because now you can see there at the stripe, Pogo able to get clear from Barker. Looks like Matthew Taylor losing a little bit of steam right behind them. He has fallen back to about half a second behind these two. Barker that time very sideways there off of turn number 2. Definitely got that right rear a little bit hot. But still able to draw even with the 97 machine. Man, oh man, a great race for second here coming up to the finish. It's going to be a barn burner here, as can Barker figure out a way around. Can Pogo hang on up top? They're off at turn number 4. Turn number 2, excuse me. Pogo gets big time sideways. Tank slaps the wall as well. That will give that second position to Johnny Barker, and here comes Matthew Taylor now with the momentum. Pogo was holding his own there up in that second lane, but just got a little bit too zealous on the throttle, and I tell you what, it can come back to bite you there quickly, and that it did to the 97 machine. Now Matthew Taylor looking for a podium position here. That time by at the stripe, those popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go. Matthew Taylor going to get one more shot at the number 97 machine here with 1 lap to go. What can he do? What can he figure out? Because this time by, we see the white flag. 1 more lap to go for the Sunshine State 210. Down here through 1 and 2, it looks like Taylor gonna run the bottom, Pogo gonna run the top. Pogo gonna have the momentum. Looks like as long as no big mistake from the 97, he should be able to do it. But here off at turn number 4, Christian Delgado will pick up the win here from race number 16. Delgado keeps his point hunt alive here. And a great race from the 31 machine. New paint scheme on the car. We'll definitely have to talk to him about that, but that puts Delgado up to 2 wins on the season. Johnny Barker will finish in the second position, and Jeff Pogo able to hang on to third. He will round out the podium finishers we'll be talking to here tonight. Man, oh man, a great race to end things for race number 16. But here we go, Christian Delgado on the front stretch, gonna burn it on down here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. I know this guy's definitely pumped up for this win here. Like I said, keeping those points battle alive. Both Delgado and Barker able to beat the 97 in the finishing order. So it is far from over in the points, like I said before, but Pogo doing exactly what he needed, able to once again finish on the podium here. So Christian Delgado burning it on down here on the front stretch. Don't go anywhere, folks, because right after a quick commercial break, we will be back to chat with our top 3 finishers. So don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we come back here with our podium finishers. The first driver we will be chatting with is the number 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. Jeff, do you got a copy of Spread the Jet in the booth here?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Alrighty, my man. So, all things said and done here tonight, you're able to walk away on the podium. We saw you ripping the lip all night long. I mean, how treacherous was it up there against the fence, and how we feeling after 140 laps?
Well, I know you saw me hit the wall a bunch, so that should tell you there shouldn't be any paint on the right side of my car. But I don't know how. I didn't have anything for Christian and Johnny, man. Anybody that migrated off the top, I don't know how they did it. I tried it a few times, just felt like I was getting so loose off. I just felt so comfortable, ripping the lip. That's all I could do, and it clearly was not faster tonight.
Yeah, we saw how difficult both lanes were, like we saw with you, Jeff, into the wall a few times, and then that inside lane so loose on corner exit. Did you kind of just want to play it safe with being against the wall, knowing that, hey, the wall's better than spinning out and having an even worse night?
I don't know. I mean, I never got the wall hard tonight. I just lightly scraping it, but I mean, I could see how that'd be better. I never really thought of it that way, but I guess that's one way to look at it. You'd kind of have the wall to save you a little bit. The only problem is sometimes if you hit it a certain way and it sucks the front of the car in, then you got to try to pull the car off the wall.
Yeah, that definitely is a real thing. The good old iRacing soft wall glue, right? That you get it too much, you yank the car off. And we actually saw that earlier with Austin Smith. He had to yank the car off, and then with that whip weight, came right back around on him.
Yeah, I had to do that once to where I had to pull it off the wall, but luckily I I left out of the throttle a little bit, so it didn't just straight get sideways. But it's treacherous. But man, congrats Christian and Johnny both. I didn't even think I was gonna get a top 3 after this went green this long. So I don't know. I felt really good here coming in, and then when I seen track temp was 127, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, that made definitely a really loose race car here. And Jeff, we kind of saw you after those green flag pit stops, kind of struggling with the car. Was anything going on, or was it just trying to get those tires back up to speed and try and judge that pace in case it did go to the green till the end, which it didn't?
Well, I guess you're talking about when I was popping the wall after the green flag pit stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just had no grip at all. I mean, I don't feel like I was driving it in any deeper or anything. It just took 3 or 4 laps for him to come up to temp. So I don't know. I mean, Christian won. Johnny beat me. Don't want either one of them to beat me for the points, but me coming home third will at least, stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
If I keep getting third and they keep winning and getting second, they shouldn't beat me.
Yeah, that's kind of looking at it the big picture. Like I said during the broadcast a few times, Jeff, you did everything in your power. Those are the 2 cars you don't want to see beat you, but when it's all said and done, you finish on the podium. That has to feel pretty good, especially after the rebound after a tough Nashville last week.
Yeah, Nashville kind of hurt me, which was unfortunate because I felt like I was going to run good there, but I made that one mistake, and then just the track position, man. I tried to wait to the end to take a set of tires. I actually finished with 2 sets at the end of that race. I was hoping to have a couple cautions at the end, and like my luck always happens, if I want a caution, I don't get it. If I don't want a caution, I get it.
Yeah, and here tonight, having one of those late race restarts, luckily you had a set of tires over the fence. But I mean, how difficult was that knowing the leader had old tires? He knew turns 1 and 2 was definitely going to be hectic. Luckily, starting on the outside, that's where he felt the most comfortable.
Yeah, it was hectic, but really the thing I was thinking about was, Dustin restarted with 33 laps on his tires, so I knew he had a set, and there was like 17 laps to go. I thought if we get a caution at like 5 to go, he's in the catbird seat, man. He would have drove around every one of us, and he would have won this race. But I got to give Matt Taylor a shout out too. He ran great tonight. Had a good battle with him all night. Race clean, so it's good to see him have a good 4th place run. Uh, I like seeing these guys run well. These guys will run good, and then something will happen mid-race, and they kind of fall back. I like when they can put a full race through. I like seeing it.
Yeah, they definitely held your feet to the fire there for quite a few laps, Jeff. Both him and Johnny Barker, racing you very hard there, but very respectful as well. I was amazed Johnny never gave you some dirty air up on that second lane. I thought for sure one time he was going to try and do that, at least allow Taylor to get even with you at some point, maybe.
Yeah, he actually was talking to me in the waiting room. He was saying that he just cannot figure out how to rip the lip. So I would assume that that was his thing. He didn't want to go all the way up there and make a mistake. Where I felt fine up there. I would prefer to be up there. I didn't want to be stuck on the bottom ever.
Yeah, well, luckily the restarts were your friend here tonight for the most part, able to restart up on the second lane. And now, Jeff, 5 races left. We got Michigan, then Worldwide Technology, Richmond, Las Vegas, Phoenix. So quite a bit of bigger tracks, mile to a mile and a half. How we feeling about those places, especially with the points advantage you still have?
I mean, I feel decent. I don't feel great, but they're all some decent tracks for me, should be, so I should run fairly well there.
Alrighty, we definitely look forward to seeing that 97 machine, see how you can close out the season now with 5 races left. But before we let you go, Jeff, we're going to go hand over the mic to you one more time and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or maybe some people tuning on into the broadcast.
I got to thank Johnny and Matt Taylor, first and foremost, and Rob, racing respectful all night with me. Appreciate it. I know they didn't have to. And then I actually want to say sorry to Frank on, I don't know what it was, maybe the first restart or second restart. I actually restarted in the wrong gear and kind of held him up, so I felt like that kind of hindered his night. But, thanks to you, Rob, everybody putting on the league, and having some good racing.
Yeah, that it was some fantastic racing once again here from the Homestead Miami Speedway. So Jeff, we will I'm sure we'll talk to you again here in the near future, but you, my man, go out there, celebrate the podium, and of course still walking away with that all important points lead.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. That was our third place finisher, Jeff Pogo. Now we'll head up to our second place finisher, that being the 6 car of Johnny Barker. Johnny, do you got a copy? It's Brett Jet in the booth here.
Got you, Brett.
All righty, my man. Couldn't quite go for 2 in a row, but of course, looking at the big picture, able to beat Jeff Pogo here tonight. How was your race? And man, how much fun was this track here trying to figure out both lanes and where people were running?
Man, I had a blast tonight. Racing with Christian and Jeff and Matt. Hard racing, clean racing. I don't know about, for me, about halfway through it, I guess the track started rubbering up and car just, I never could get it back under me like it was at the beginning. But it was a handful. And that's probably one of the hardest races I've run in a while. Man, you have to drive this thing.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it, Johnny, here. We rode on board with you a couple times, even at the beginning of the race when you're absolutely flying out there, wheel to the right on corner exit, wheel definitely straight, let's say, as soon as you got into the throttle. How difficult was it to tiptoe along the bottom? And like you said, especially once this race went on with this track getting hotter and more rubber being laid down.
It was, it kind of surprised me because at the beginning, when the track was green, once it was still stepping out a little bit. Like you said, I was turning back to the right a little bit. But from about center out, I could pretty much go back to the floor and, they would drive out pretty straight. But then at the end, it was, it wasn't nowhere near the same. You had to be really easy on the throttle.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that there, Johnny. And I mean, what more do you wish you had there at the end, either setup wise or how the car was driving to try and go 2 in a row? Because like you even mentioned, definitely had the pace in the first half of the run. Was it just the car going away on exit?
Yeah, the car definitely went away on exit. I think the only way I would win this race is have Christian's car. He, like I said at the beginning, we would stay pretty close, and then I could start pulling him a little bit as the run went on, but it just flip-flopped there at the end. He definitely had the better car, short run and long run there at the end, so got to be happy with second. Wasn't nothing else I could do.
Yeah, definitely, Johnny, and especially all things considered, that restart with inside of 20 laps to go. You line up in the 3rd position, have a Dustin Coggin out there in front of you on those old tires. I mean, what was going through your mind on that restart besides, hey, I got to get around this 42 as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, I told Rob, when I realized he stayed out, I was like, Lord, I know he's going to spin these tires on the restart. But surprisingly, he took off pretty good. We got down to 1 and 2, and I think I went on the outside of him, and I was hoping Christian had a run, which he did, and so I was able to tiptoe around him on the outside because I sucked running. I tried running outside a few laps tonight, and I just couldn't do it. Car was way too loose for me up there, so I knew I had to get back to the bottom. I think that's when Jeff and Matt might have got around me there, so then I had to get back around both of them. That was fun racing.
Yeah, I mean, how much fun did you have with that battle? That was a great battle between you three, and I was amazed, Johnny. Maybe you kind of elaborated to it there. You never gave Jeff Pogo any dirty air. You always stuck to that bottom lane, gave him room up on the top side, which you don't see too often, especially late in any race.
Yeah, I did think about it, but I knew, or I felt like that as long as I kept wrapping that bottom like I was, eventually I would get around him. And I think he might have gotten a wall is what finally got me around him. But I did think about putting that dirty air on him. But like one thing, I really couldn't run outside anyhow, so I was kind of nervous about getting up there. So I figured, I actually figured he was gonna get me, if he didn't get in the wall or whatever. So it was good running with him. I mean, that's Jeff is a good, clean driver, so I definitely didn't want to slide into him or do nothing dirty to him. So I just tried to keep it down low as I could, and end up working out. So
Yeah, that it did. You guys put on a heck of a battle, especially for that second position, Johnny. And then, more importantly, looking at the big picture, Nashville last week, winning that race, getting that momentum. Then tonight, you beat the 97 for those points. You and Christian going to be neck and neck, of course, for second, but the even bigger picture as well. You guys inch ever so closer to Jeff Pogo, who's leading the points.
yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could have run the first part of the season. Like the second half is going. I just had terrible luck. Speeding in pits, road. That's why I was just telling Christian we was talking, and I was like, "Lord, you put a gap on us when we pitted." But I knew I was going in slow. I think 3 or 4 times this year, and I got busted on pit road for speeding. So I tend to be a little easier getting on this second half, and I give up a little bit of time, but it's not worth the penalty. So
Yeah, I don't blame you there because, like you said, Johnny, a pit road speeding penalty, especially under green flag, is pretty much a race ender at any racetrack we go to.
oh yeah, I don't think for sure unless Jeff has some sure enough bad luck. Uh, I don't think we're gonna do nothing with him in the points. But you never know. We're gonna keep running hard as we can and see where it lays out.
Yep, that's for sure. Still 5 races left in the season. Anything can happen. But here, Johnny, at least for tonight, race number 16 in the books, you end up P number 2 here. So before we let you go and celebrate a runner-up finish here, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors on the car, some of those all-important teammates, or maybe some people tuning on into the broadcast.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank my teammates, Rob and Nick. I know Nick had a little bit of bad luck tonight, and I think Rob might have top 5, so that was a good run for us. So definitely thank them for all the help they give me through the week. Thank all the league sponsors, all the admins that put this on, and like always, thank you for the broadcast.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, Johnny, it was a great time talking to you. I assume, especially with the run you're on here, my man, we'll be talking to you again here in the future. So keep up this hot streak and enjoy this runner-up finish here tonight as well.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, folks, that was our runner-up finisher, Johnny Barker, in the number 6. Now we'll head down to Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour. It is Christian Delgado. Christian, do you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Brett.
Alrighty, my man. How are we feeling? Ups and downs of the season, but here late, you pick up your second win of the season. It has to feel good because you had to earn this one.
Yeah, Johnny and Jeff definitely kept me honest that whole race. I felt like Johnny was a little bit quicker than me at the start of the race, and me and Johnny were talking about it before he got dragged in and everything. I think with just how many laps got ran on the track rubbered in a little bit, and it kind of swayed towards me, where it was more of a handling thing more than a pace thing, and just getting a little bit more out of the car is what got you the lap time versus when the track was green at the start of the race, where you could just kind of push it and it was a little bit easier to drive. And yeah, that caution, that last lap caution, that caution at the end is not what I wanted to see. I mean, we had a 6.5 second lead, and we're pulling away, and I didn't really fire off very well at all that whole race. Every time we had a restart, I always got passed by Johnny, or at least Jeff got to my inside and tried to battle me for it. And so I for sure thought that I might have had one kind of stolen away from me, but I don't know if Dustin was out of tires or if maybe he was just trying to strategize something else. But him staying out was, I feel like, really did a lot to help me get this race under control again. And because obviously he spun the tires with old stuff and gave me the lead really early going into 1 and 2. And then, Johnny and Jeff having to get around them uh, gave me that little bit of a cushion. But man, that was probably that last run, including that caution. That was probably the longest 60 laps of my life. I just wanted those laps to. I wanted the race to be over so quickly because I knew, one little mistake here with the line I'm running, could have ended my race with running the top. Just you get in the wall one little time. You even if you hit the wall in a weird spot here with the new update, you can break a tire. And with running the bottom in 3 and 4, you step on the gas a little bit. You saw it in the race, people getting a little squirrely and spinning it out on exit and added 2 and 4. So but man, I was giving everything I could at the end, trying to get away from those guys, and yeah, lucky to get it here. I know I love Homestead; it's one of my best tracks, and I was really excited coming in here, uh, knowing that I would have a good ton of pace, and I knew that my strong suit was going to be the long run, and obviously I showed it tonight. So super happy. It's gonna definitely help a little bit with the points. I know Johnny passed me in the points after Bristol. Apparently there was like a glitch where it called me an unsafe pit exit when I didn't have an unsafe pit exit, and I didn't really feel like protesting it and getting my black clear and potentially getting no points. So I decided just to take the penalty and get take salvage what I could there with the P16. But Johnny passed me in the points that race, and I knew I had to come out here and perform and to try to at least get past Johnny again in the points and slowly try to chip into that points lead that Jeff has. I know I missed that one race due to my power going out, which really hurt us some points, but glad that we're out here, and I think we're in the top 2 all race, so super happy with the pace.
Yeah, that it was, Christian. Incredible pace out here. And yeah, like you mentioned, this is your second win of the season. That ties you for the second most with anyone else in the league this season. So definitely awesome to hear that. As well as, yeah, like you said, big thing coming into tonight. You and Johnny almost tied in points, and you beat Jeff Pogo to slowly close on into that overall points. So big time objectives completed here at a tricky track.
No, I mean it feels good. I mean I love Homestead, and it felt good. I mean, this was a hard race. I mean, track temp was static 126, and for the fans at home that don't know, like that is, I mean, you could see it at home, probably on the broadcast. Everybody was slipping and sliding all race, and it was really just about keeping your car out of the wall or keeping the tires underneath you because it was tough to manage the car plus try to get everything you could out of it. And yeah, I mean this was definitely one of the more demanding races I've done this season.
Yeah, that it definitely looked like. And Christian, I got to ask you, we talked to Jeff Pogo. He said I only felt comfortable in the high lane. Johnny Barker, the opposite. He felt like he was only comfortable on the bottom. You seem like one of the few cars out here tonight that could really run both lines really well. How were you able to judge that, and how were you able to keep walking on that tightrope?
Yeah, I originally learned how to just run the top exclusively, and but that if there's a bump up there in 3 and 4 that really upsets the car, and if you hit it in the wrong spot, you can either it'll do either things. It'll get you super snug, and you'll push up, hit the wall. I know I did that a couple times trying to race people when they got to my inside in 3 and 4, or trying to get around lap traffic. Or if you hit it in the wrong spot, if you have too much wheel in it, you'll just spin out on the top. So um, I love running the wall in 1 and 2. It's super fun. I mean, just running the wall in general here at Homestead is a lot of fun. And as a dirt guy who raced in real life back in my heyday, ripping the wall and ripping the cushion it's so much fun. So and then in 3 and 4, I just I learned this in the officials. What was it, last week? I ran 3 NISs to prepare for this week. It was a freebie. Basically NIS was, I think, 134 laps, so almost on the dot, the same distance as this. So I learned that running the bottom and 3 and 4 just really helped conserve the tires, and um, it it was kind of a mix of between. I ran the top in 1 and 2 to keep the pace up, ran the bottom in 3 and 4 to kind of keep the tires underneath me, and yeah, that's kind of the line I've always used here is top 1 and 2, bottom 3 and 4. I'm not a big fan of top and 3 and 4. I'm not a fan of bottom and 1 and 2. So, but yeah, I definitely noticed that kind of one guy chose a line and kind of stuck there, and I felt like that's where it was. I had kind of the little bit of upper hand that if I needed to, I could go down and run whatever lane I needed to.
Yeah, that definitely was the case here tonight, Christian. Like I said, best car in either lanes was yourself, especially if you had to move lanes. But one thing I do got to mention here, rocking out here with this blue and pink machine. Where's this paint scheme from? And are we going to see it some more? Because now it's 1 for 1.
Yeah, that's a Sabrina Carpenter car. For people that don't know, she's a pop artist. I've been a big fan of hers for a long time, and obviously she's become a more well-known name in the music scene and just I guess the social media scene lately with uh finally her breaking out and getting the recognition that I feel like she should have had for a long time. So I've been a huge fan of hers, and this is her newest album I have on the car. It's kind of an album themed car. It's short and sweet. Um, and she also just came out with Short and Sweet Deluxe that came out on Valentine's Day. But yeah, huge fan of hers and a huge, supporter of hers. And I know she's never going to see this, but she does mean a whole lot to me. And her and her music and her as a person and just whatever she does, it's helped me out and through some really bad times, and uh, really means a lot to me. So I thought I'd paint a car for this album that came out this last year in 2024, and yeah, I think this is the first time we've won in this car. It's been out for a while, since at least October ish of last year. So definitely gonna get to see some more of it. I try to cycle out the schemes the best I can. I have my high velocity TV paint for that stuff. I kind of have to pay the bills by running the paint there. But I mean, I think I've ran the K-State car a couple of times. My home, university, I've ran this car I think a couple times. And so yeah, but definitely going to be seeing some more of it. Obviously, one of my more favorite schemes. Obviously, it's more sentimental to me than than a lot of the other schemes I run. So yeah, super happy to finally winning this car. It means a lot to me. So
Yeah, this car definitely looks good, especially down here in the Homestead Miami victory lane. Going with the colors, very nice with the Miami area. So, a great job here once again, Christian. Second win of the season. That is definitely really awesome here. But before we let you go, my man, and continue to celebrate here, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you down in victory lane and thank who you got to thank. Either some of those some other sponsors on the car, some of those all important teammates, or maybe some people watching at home, as well as, of course, shout out where we can find you racing live at.
yeah, I guess first of all, the first people you always have to thank is all the admins, Rob and stuff, for putting on the league. John, Brandon, all those guys who are in the background. Uh, making everything work. Making the sessions, making the setups, making everything work, handling the points and all that stuff. I mean, we literally could not do it without them. Putting in all that time and work outside of the broadcast, outside of the race. So huge shout out to Rob and all those guys who put in all that time and energy. Have to give a huge shout out to the league sponsors: BG Graphics, Sleep Guard, Riptide Radio, GStone, DTL Customs. They made our throwbacks for that whatever. I don't remember what race that was, but they made those throwbacks that we're gonna be running later on this season. Out of the Wood Works Crafts. I think they're making our trophy for the championship. So huge shout out to league sponsors. We definitely couldn't do without you guys as well. So huge shout out to you guys. I have to give a shout out to, I guess, my sponsors, Track Racer, Steel Car Detailing, um, I guess short and sweet for this ride. Sabrina, thank you. I mean, huge admirer of hers, so I know she's probably never gonna give the time of day, but um, I love you. But also got to give a huge shout out to High Velocity TV. If you guys are looking for a broadcast outside of Turn 3 Racing Network, they do an awesome job as well. But um, go ahead and email us over at hvtvbroadcasting@aol.com. We do a bunch of stuff. We are getting into some road racing kind of stuff, IMSA style stuff with a bunch of custom tickers. We have the NBC ticker, we have the 2012 Fox ticker with ATVO and all that stuff. So if you guys are looking for a broadcast, make sure to go message us over there for that. But lastly, got to give a huge shout out to the people over at twitch.tv/Christian Boss 13. That's where we kind of hang out and live and stuff like that. We got a bunch of people in chat, really excited for this win. There's a lot of times where I'm up here in the top 3, top 2, just doesn't go my way, or something happens at the end where we can't, come up here and race for a win. So couldn't do without them, and definitely wouldn't be racing as much and doing all this stuff without them. Also have to give a huge shout out to Adrenaline Racing. Thank you, John, and all those guys for everything. Used to be Sim Motion, who used to race here in 802, but decided to move on. And I decided to stick around, but has now rebranded to Adrenaline. So thank you, John, and all those guys over there for doing everything. And lastly, got to give a huge shout out to the Bean team. Thank you, Jeff, Sully, Matthew, Peter, Sully, all those guys for everything you do. Thank you guys for being my best friends in the world. Everything else. Got to give a huge shout out to Delta Eagle Designs. Thank you, Andreas, for helping me with the paints. Got to give a huge shout out to Tin Can Racing Designs as well, and all those guys over in PCR and the FFC. Thank you, all you guys, for being such supporters of what I do and trying to make me a better person. But lastly, Brett, got to give a huge shout out for you for putting on this broadcast. I know how hard it is and how fun and challenging and difficult and entertaining it is to call these races. You have your ups and you have your downs. So definitely couldn't do without you, and can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast after this.
Yeah, it definitely is an exciting one. But yeah, Christian, appreciate the kind words, and you, my man, go party it on up. We'll be sure to check out the 31 camp once we finish up this post race and continue the party all into tonight. So Christian, have a great rest of the night. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here in the near future.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brett.
Alrighty, folks, that was Christian Delgado visiting Victory Lane for the second time this season, and a big congrats to him. He keeps himself and Johnny finishing second. They keep their points hopes alive here tonight at the conclusion of race number 16. So we will jump here live and get rolling with tonight's post-race action. Of course, first and foremost, we have to thank that being the league sponsors. You can see they're up in the top side of your screen. We got Leaf Guard coming on board. Christian Delgado walking away with the checkered flag and the Leaf Guard pole award here tonight. So big shout out to him with that. And of course, Leaf Guard coming on board. Of course, we got to thank Brandon Guerin with BG Graphix. They help with the points fund. Out of the Woods Crafts for the trophy as well for the season, as well as some other 802 partners, that being Stone and GStone Motorsports, as well as DTL Customs, and then the big one, the title sponsor for this series, that of course being Riptide Radio, some of the best beach and boogie music from Ocean Drive, North Myrtle Beach. And you can check them out there with the first link in the description, or even scanning that QR code, because that will take you to their app and you can listen to some of the best oldies around. So big shout out to all of them. Let's head on over to the post race and see where all your favorite drivers ended on up here for the Sunshine State 210. Christian Delgado will pick up the win here tonight, picking up his second career win of the season. Johnny Barker on a hot streak will finish second, and Jeff Pogo walks away with the points lead, just a little smaller after tonight. Matthew Taylor with a great run here tonight. Would have loved to chat with him. He will finish fourth, and Rob Lowell rounding out the top 5. Bringing it home in 6th is Frank Zingen. 7th going to Eli Raposa. Brandon Guerin able to claw back to 8th. 9th going to Stephen Holmes. And then it's Justin Branham rounding out the top 10. Jason Wiley will finish 11th. 12th going to Dustin Coggins, just getting the strategy wrong. What a race it could have been for that 42. 13th will go to Nick Larson. 14th, Ariba Caton. 15th, Dan Dill. 16th, Chris Taylor. 17th, Austin Smith. And then 18th here tonight would be Dylan Jacobs. So that would do it here from race number 16. Be sure to tune on in. We got 5 races left of the season. You won't want to miss it. Next week, we'll have the Michigan race. Same time, same place on the Turn 3 Racing Network. It's going to be a lot of fun because these things here are another fun, action-packed, fast-paced track here. So you guys won't want to miss it. Of course, big shout-out to all the league admins making this happen here on the 802 side, as well as, of course, like I mentioned before, the race sponsors, as well as the racers coming out here, spending your Sunday nights with us, putting on the great show that all of us can enjoy. Got to give a big shout out to all the live viewers and Kenny in the YouTube chat lands, as well as all of the replay viewers. I've been Brett the Jet with Turn 3 Racing Network. Be sure to check out Turn 3 throughout the week, as we have a lot of great racing, a lot of great broadcasters covering some of the best sim racing action, as well as Turn 3 partnered with that logo you see in the bottom right of your screen. That is Premier Setup Shops. It would mean the world to me if you guys could go in the description as well. There is a link to Premier Setup Shops. Even if you don't want to buy anything, a click would go a long way. Show that them supporting us, that we can do the same in supporting them. So if you're looking for maybe some good setup, especially on the dirt side or whatever else they have to offer, be sure to check them on out. So I've been Brett the Jet here from race number 16. Everyone take care, stay safe, and we'll catch you in 1 week's time for race number 17 of 21 at Michigan. I've been Brett the Jet, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.